Hello, welcome to round 1, game 2 of the Fistful of Dice Store Championships. On the left here, David Coolman playing HB Engineer in the future. On the right, Graham Smart playing the Professor. So David's first turn is icing his 2 essentials, gaining the credit. Gets the extra one obviously for his ID ability. Graham starting out with Technical Writer. Legal packs in this tournament are up to Calagoda. Technical Writer really nice, great for installing. Get it early in the game, installing programs, installing hardware to get money. Sahasrara there is also going to help with installing programs. 2 recurring credits to install, also going to feed money onto the technical writer there. It's a nice little economy engine. Graham might be able to get going there. So David creates a new remote. And takes a credit after starting another new remote. So Graham's playing the Professor here. This is taking place in early February, so we're about a month into the most wanted list when Professor actually kind of immune to the most wanted list somewhat due to his ignoring the influence cost ability as self-modifying code there. Adds another token to the technical writer. Last click, he's checking that remote. That's an Eve campaign there. Graham's not going to bankrupt himself for that. Dave's going to res that and get the slow drip of the Eve campaign. Eve campaign, expensive to res, slow to drip in, but equally expensive for the runner to trash. David gets his mandatory draw. Icing up that remote there, so even if Graham did decide he wants to trash it now, he's going to have to try and contend with whether that ice is. Looks like Graham's drawn a Corroder there, which he can install for free with the Sahasrara. Just considering what you could do with click 2 there. Yeah, use the credits on the Sahasrara, put the Corroder down. It's going to further feed the technical writer there. So Graham's got 5 credits to hand right now. Another 3 on the technical writer. There's an architect. I don't know what Graham's sentry breaker options are, but you don't want an architect firing. Architect's so strong, especially in Engineer in the future. It's just allowing you to get more leverage from your ID ability there. Yeah, Graham's letting that fire. So Dave's going to look at the top 5 cards of R&D. He can install one of these and then also do the same from Archives or HQ. Although there's no cards in Archives presently. So someone's got on that remote there. I think that was a Project Vitruvius. And David elected to ice R&D as well. And that's a hedge fund on top. Graham's got a click left to use. Let's go check that remote, see what it is. Yeah, David pays for the Turing. Graham's not going to get through that. I think Graham... Yeah, Graham's going to bounce off that. Not going to contest it. There's David's start of turn draw, 2 credits coming off the Eve. I think that was Vitruvius he put behind the Turing. If it is, he's not going to score it this turn. So yeah, installs, gets a credit from his ability, spends a credit to install the ice. 2 more, so... If that's the Turing, Graham needs to maintain some pressure, otherwise David's just going to score that out. One of the cool things about watching somebody play a Professor deck is you've got literally no idea what their breaker suite is, what programs they're running. Not a standard sort of deck archetype. You see a noise player, you sort of know what they're playing. You see a Kate player, you've got a good idea of what their breakers are. Graham could be playing absolutely anything out of Professor. It's really impossible to know. Okay, so Graham used the Sayasrara, installed the David over the SMC. Possibly could have popped the SMC to search for something first, but he probably wants to conserve his money, I guess. So he's going to run this. So no res. Yeah. David counted to get through the Turing, and that scores Graham Vitruvius. So Graham's going to be pretty happy with that. Losing the SMC wasn't great, but the SMC still generated a credit in theory, so it's not terrible. Oh, so that's an install. Yeah, install into that remote a hedge fund and out enhanced login protocols. So that's going to just make Graham's runs a little more taxing. The first run each turn is going to cost an additional click. Yeah, it's Graham just clarifying how enhanced login protocol works there with David. Yeah, pressure that server again. That is a Vikram, a new card actually. Only just came out at the time of this tournament. Really quite annoying for runners to deal with. Prevents use of further programs and also does trace for brain damage. Yeah, so okay, so Graham's clicking through the 2 traces, David in the first routine, and then I assume he's going to David the Turing? Yep, David the Turing, and that's going to be Breaker Bay Grid there. Okay, so pretty good play there from David actually, just getting Graham to spend those David counters, which now leaves Graham locked out of that server. I think David might have seen the top card of his R&D there. The player's just agreeing to shuffle it up a randomizer there. So that's either an agenda or it's agenda, Ash, maybe a Caprice, or it could just be an Adonis that he just wants to tick down for the money. Breaker Bay Grig does so much work in these food coach decks. So Graham playing a Harbinger there. So that's more money for his technical writer, and it makes me think he's probably got an Aesops in there somewhere. Dirty Laundry Archives, just for a net gain of 3 credits. That's another Eve campaign. So maximum efficiency from that breakaway, making the Eve free to res. That's just going to immediately start kicking out 2 credits a turn. And if David wants to overwrite it, there's no problem there. It's not cost him anything. He can just throw an agenda in there as and when they come. So that's Alt Jackson there in hand. And that's another card in that server. So that probably is the Ash, I would have thought. So Vikram Turing now on what looks to be the scoring server. 2 nasty pieces of ice for any runner to contend with. Graham's drawn a card for the start of his turn. Click 2, just mulling over his options. Graham drawing again. Is that a clone chip, I think? See a clone chip. I can see another Sahasrara. I think I can see an Atman as well. Run on HQ with click 3 and 4. There's the Enigma. That's going to keep him out unless he wants to... Oh no, the SMC's gone now actually, hasn't it? So yeah. That ends Graham's turn. He's going to have to discard some cards. David got the 4 credits dripping in now. That's quickly going to pull him away. Graham discards a Sahasrara. Click 2, draw for David. And that's another ice on that server. David would probably love to see an agenda right now, you'd think. There's a little hint that Graham's got a way in right now. David would probably just love to get something in there and start scoring out. Yeah, so down comes the clone chip. 6 credits now, I think, on that technical ride. Click 2 is a draw, which is another SMC. So yeah, still the SMC over the David. It's another credit on the technical writer. Just money waiting there whenever Graham wants to call it in. Now, I wonder what Graham's options are on challenging that scoring server. I don't know what code gate breakers he's running. Is with David in the bin. So he might be at SMC for another David, but I'm imagining that's probably the only one he's running. Okay, so something's gone down that server, so that means David's got the agenda. There's an advance on it. Takes a credit. Okay, so it could be a 3 for 2, and David's just hoping to draw another one, ready to start going. No obvious 4 for 2s I wouldn't have thought in that deck. So Graham's just sort of mulling up his choices here. He's got the money sat on the technical writer. He's only got a barrier breaker installed. There's already a sentry and a code gate. Okay, so Graham clone chips David again over the SMCs. That's 2 SMCs now gone to that David, but needs must. So it all depends what this outer ice is and what the unresed upgrade is, which it's an Ash or a Caprice, I would assume. Graham just doing some maths on how he wants to handle this, I think. So he's going to have to... Okay, so the money's coming off the technical writer. Let's click 1. So 2-3 is to run this server. Takes 2 clicks because of the ELP. So there's an Eli. Graham can break that pretty simply. Yeah, 4 credits to break that with the Corroder. Yep, so Graham's through that. Going to hit the Vikram now. It could break 1 trace with a click. And David the other 2. Yeah, so he's clicking 1 routine, David in the other 2. It's going to David out, so it's not a Caprice, isn't res this, it's got to be an Ash. Yeah, there's the Ash. So, starts at trace 4. Graham's currently got 10 credits. Dave. Yeah, David makes that trace 12, which is going to keep Graham out. He still gets to access the Ash. He can trash that. Yeah, Graham just checking the wording on Ash there. Graham's not trashing the Ash? Okay, so David scored out. Okay, so that's why he did the ABT. It's firing that. So Graham's left the Ash there, not trashed it, which is going to be an issue because that's going to be another wasted run if he manages to get in that server game. Really should have spent the money to get rid of that. So that's pretty much given up that server to David now. Graham's drawn another technical writer which he installs. David's ABT, by the way, got him an Eli, but 2 cards in the bin. I think Graham will be wanting to check those. We know there's not a Jackson out on the board, although having said that, actually something has gone down in the scoring server, so it could be a Jackson in there. It's got to be worth checking though, just to force him to respect it if it is. Okay, medium installed over the David. Click 4, draw. Oh, Project Vitruvius there. So David now is really comfortable to just start scoring out. That puts him on 4 agenda points, leaves him with 4 credits there. Graham's going to need to start putting some fast pressure on. There's a lot of face down cards. There's 5 face downs there in the archives. That's got to be worth checking. There's an ace-ups down, click 1. Click 2 to draw. Check the archives. Spend 2 clicks to check that archives. You've got to do it. Okay, 3 and 4 clicks for money. David's taking his mandatory draw. Looks like a piece of ice there. He just top decked. There's a GFI there, I think, in hand. Okay, archive memories for the Eve. Something goes down the scoring remote, presumably the Eve. Gets a credit for it from his ID ability and then takes a credit. So David just going to leave the Eve sat there again now until he can get some money out. Get some money out of it until he gets the agenda to score. Graham ace-ups in the Harbinger, which actually reinstalls itself face down. So you can essentially ace-ups that twice. And I think, without checking the card text on the Harbinger, I believe it installs face down after it's trashed, meaning it should have put another credit on the technical writer, I believe. Wow. 9 credits to install the toolbox. The toolbox is a really very expensive console, but pretty good. 2 MU, 2 link, and 2 recurring credits for using icebreakers. Can Graham make this medium count somehow? Needs to find a sentry breaker. Really can't put much pressure on R&D without breaking the architect. There's self-modifying code there. Graham's still not checking these face downs in archives. I don't know if there are any points there, but if there are, David's got to be really happy that it just seems to be left. Okay, Graham's running the hand, popping the SMC. Okay, using 2 credits from the Sahasrara for a chameleon. I can use one of the recurring credits off toolbox to break the 1 sub that matters. Yeah, choosing code gate, yeah. Access this card from HQ. That's the archive memories again. End of turn, a Chameleon's going to bounce back to hand. So Chameleon, Sahasrara and Technical Right is here. Kind of cool little combo actually. Yeah, it's an Eve in there. David overwrites it immediately though, which means that's probably, yeah, install Advanced of Arts means that's the global food. Graham needs to get that this turn or that's game. So sells the Harbinger to ace-ups. And I don't think Graham's got a way into that server, to be honest. The Vikram and Turing just really hard to contend with without any really strong code gate breaker out. That combo of those 2 ice and the enhanced login protocols meaning Graham can't click through enough subroutines to make it count. Okay, so Sahasrara for Chameleon. Yep, choosing code gate again, so he's going to run David's hand. So that's the Jackson. Graham trashes that. He's got 1 click left to not lose the game. I think David's just... Those 2 ice really just kept Graham out. Gate didn't give him a chance to get in. And yeah, there's the global food. Tough game for Graham there. The Turing Vikram combo, really strong, really hard to deal with. Professor, I'm imagining running a lot of one-off programs, which means you're not got a lot of consistency on what you're drawing. And ETF, they're just able to do what they do and make money and score out. So that's a sweep for David. 4 points that round, and we'll be back soon with round 2.